Hey there everyone. So yesterday I started this. Um excuse me. I will just briefly refresh what I went through. So I did label based on the information here the sides of the triangle which they indicated was equilateral, and an equilateral triangle has all the equal sides. They also told us what the height is, and all three lengths would be the same because the diagram will have that same height throughout. I also worked on the first part of the problem, which would have been what they wanted us to do, find the perpendicular height, which was a long process. I tried to break it down as much as possible, so I started with Pythagoras. Because the height is in the middle of the triangle, a perpendicular line that intersects the base forming 90 degrees. So I took 1/2 of the triangle and I found the height, right? I know this probably would have been a little bit complicated for some of you all, especially since the problem has like roots and stuff. And I did indicate it's important for you all to redo the questions. Don't just look at the videos, but actually try doing them on your own. You may need to do it a few times. I know some of you have exams tomorrow. So, well, yeah, who would be watching this video? All right, so the final answer will have been that the height is equal to the square root of 3/4 a squared. And of course, if you have any questions, let me know. So I will be moving on. I'll be using this other version of the document instead. Um, okay. So that was, I think I reached part B because I only did one part. So part B is saying to show that the area of the wasn't that I found? Yeah, that's what I found yesterday. That's the area of the cross section, so that's what I did find. Just hold on, let me just make sure. Oh, okay. Part A was saying find the height in terms of E. Okay. And part B is saying to show the triangular cross section. What I could have done to reduce the height or write it in its lowest term would have been, since everything in here has to be, the root needs to be found, I could have said the square root of 3 square root of a squared and the square root of 4, that's before that's below. Actually, let me put it the correct way. It should be 1/4 because it's a fraction, right? So I say, okay, miss, where you get this 1/4? Let me show you all. I could split 4/3 by saying, okay, 1/4, a quarter multiplied by 3 would give me 4/3. So that's why I put the square root of the 3 separates and the square root of the quarter, right? So it's just like rewriting the fraction in an expanded form. Now, since if I find the square root of 3, I'll get some kind of recurring decimal or some kind of decimal. I will leave that just as is, right? You'll get like 1.73 something. If you get any decimals, don't change it, leave that just like that. So we use this just as this. The square root of a squared, based on the same thing that I did when I found the square root of h squared. There's usually a 2 here, and that cancels the 2, so you get the square root of a squared is a. The square root of a quarter. You have to think about what fraction multiplied by the same fraction will give you a quarter. I know it's going to be a half, because if you say a half by half, you get 1 by 1 is 1, and 2 by 2 is 4. So the square root of a quarter is a half. So I could have simplified this. I'm going to put the h on the left hand side. And my answer could look like I put back the root of 3. I put the a, put it here because I already found the root, so I kind of put it outside of the square root. And put the 2 below. So this is just a simplified version of the height, but you could have leave it like that if you want to. But the reason why I choose to simplify, because now I'm seeing that they asking on this side, the next part of the question, we increase the size. They are asking to show that the area, this was the answer for the height. Now they want to show the area, and both of them looking the same way, and some students might be confused. So I choose to reduce it, and I'm going to use the height in the area of a triangle to show you all that this is going to be the answer, right? Okay, so we know that area of a triangle is based by height over 2. Well, some people write it as a half multiplied by base by height is the same formula. Because anytime you have a denominator below, it's always 1 is the numerator, alright? So if I say 1 is the numerator, so that way some persons will write the same formula as base. Sorry. Okay, they write it so too, but as a half by the base by the height. It's the same formula, right? Because remember, anything multiplied by 1 doesn't change. So if you say 1 by the base or 1 by b, you still get b, which is 1b. But you can write it as b, right? So you don't have to write the 1 here and the 1 here, really. So I hope you all get that, right? Okay, so do we know the base? They said the base is a, so we can replace the b with a. The height, we just found the height, so multiply by the height, which is, I use the reduced version, which is the root of 3. We have the a there over 2. And, oh boy. So I could write this divided by 2 like that, but it may look a little bit complicated. So what I will do to make it look a little bit more understandable, I can use this version of the formula instead, so everything will be on the same line. So I put multiply by half. You could put a half in front or behind, don't matter, because some of you probably heard me say already that multiplication is commutative, meaning that it don't matter if you put 7 by 5, you get 35, and if you flip the position on the numbers 5 by 7, you still get 35. So it don't matter what you're multiplying, as this is an a, right? That's not 9. It can be letters, numbers. It don't matter the positions when it's multiplication, and also addition, you get the same answer, right? So we just have to simplify this. Let me change the color. So I could say a by e, because remember this a is outside the root. A by e is e squared. Just now. Okay. Yeah, a by e is e squared. I'll put the e squared here. The root of 3. Let me put it on this side too, because I know some persons, even though I try to break this down, you need to do quite a number of them. Hopefully they don't bring any difficult question like this. A by a, both of them have a power of 1. So when you are multiplying the same base, you add the powers. 1 and 1 is 2. The root of 3 by 1, anything multiplied by 1 doesn't change. Therefore, you will end up with the same root 3. So you can put the root 3 in the front. And 2 by 2 is 4. The base, 2 by 2 is 4. So by doing this, you prove that, to show means to prove, that the area of the triangular cross-section, in terms of A, having A in the answer, is the, is the root of 3 over 4 A squared. I hope that was clear. Sometimes you could possibly rewatch the video as well, or certain parts, because you doesn't always pick up everything right on the spot, right? Okay, moving on to part C. So it says determine in terms of A the volume of the container. Then simplify your answer. So that means you write it in the simplest form, and you also have shown that the area of the net in terms of A is a half E squared, open bracket 18 plus that. So that means the net they talk about is the area of the full shape. Or sometimes they call it surface area in certain questions. But before we do that, we first need to the volume. We need to find the volume, and then we can work on this part, right? So we're gonna find the volume. Volume volume of a shape like this, it is something like a cylinder, but it's not. It doesn't have a circular cross section. It has a triangular. So some people might call it like a prism. But all you have to do is take the area of the triangle and multiply by the height of the shape. So, so the area of a triangle by the height is the same formula we're using here for volume of a cylinder, right? So it's pi r squared as area. Wait. No, that's the wrong thing. If a cylinder is pi r squared, because the cylinder has a circular cross section, is area of the triangle, which is base by height over 2, base by height over 2 by the height again, right? Now, if you were paying attention, you would realize we just found the area of the triangular cross section. So what we could do, we can replace the base by height over 2 with the answer I just got there, which is the root of 3 a squared over 4. And do we know the height? I believe we'll give on the height. So yeah, the height is 3a. Excuse me. Multiply by 3e. Okay. You may want to put a denominator 1 here so make it easier to work out everything. Since this 3 in the root, if you find the root of 3 will be 1.7 something, you can't multiply a whole number 3 by the root of 3. So practically, you put this 3 in the front. You put the root of 3 after it, because it's like saying 3 multiplied by the root of 3. You put the a cube, because you have to multiply the a squared by the a, right? So you add the powers because they are multiplying, and you will get a to the power of 3 excuse, or a cube, and then below 4 by 1 is 4. Okay, so that's the answer for the volume. So moving on to the next part. Wait, I think I may have to come back to this diagram soon, but right now, let's not hold on. I think I put that diagram in the wrong place. will I be able to show? In order for me to show this, I already know the area of the triangles, but we still have to find the area of the rectangular parts. Let me see if anywhere below asks us to find that. Um, mm, okay. Alright, so we can actually go ahead and show this one time though. Let me see what space I have below. Alright, I could use some of that space there. So I show that the area of the net in terms of A's is this. So they want you to show this, right? Alright. So we know the area of the triangular part. Wait, where is it? Is this here, right? So we already know the area. We already found the area of the triangles, right? So we don't have to go and look that again. Both of them will be the same thing because it's the same shape, so the triangles will have the same area. Um, so the only thing that it tells us to find the area of is the rectangular parts. There are three of them. One, two, three. So going back to see what information they give us. In fact, let me use the diagram from the site yesterday because it's the same diagram, but it's just spread out here. It's open out, right? So you see all the faces of the shape, the container. So since it is, we had here's E. Remember, all the sides of the triangle is E, right? That means here's going to be E. Here's going to be E. All of that's going to be E and E, right? Look like a 9, but it's not a 9, okay? So that means this piece here is also going to be E. Because when they fold it in, it will fit exactly with the triangular length. So here will be E. That's not a 9 there. And this is going to be E. So all these three from here to here's A, here to here's A, here to here's E. And it did give us the height. The height is 3A, so all the lengths will be, oh gosh, oh gosh, oh gosh. 3A is going to be 3A. And there is going to be 3A, okay. All right, so, right, so we need to find the area of this. The area of a rectangle is length by the width, right? So we can find the area, which you know is length by width or length by breadth, whichever one you choose. We find the area of one and then whatever answer we get, we multiply by 3. So you take the length, which is 3E, multiply by the width, which is E. A by itself is the same as 1A, so it's really he's saying 3 by 1 is 3, and A by E is E squared. So this is the length of one of these rectangles. Therefore, that's not A squared now. Wait, hold on. It is A squared. Sorry, my bad. Yeah, so since this is the length of one, we could take the length of one and multiply by 3 to get the length of all three. So 3 by 3 is 9. And A squared by no other letter is A squared. So this is the area of the three of them, right? Well, another way you could have done it, you know what that is. You could have just add 3A squared 3 times. But that's a longer way to do it. multiplication is a fast way of adding the same thing over and over, right? Okay, so this is the area of the three rectangles, right? That's the area there. And then we know the area of the what do you call this again? We know the area of the two, well, we know each of the triangles. So what we could do, we can simplify the area of the triangles. So if the area of one triangle is this, oh, sorry, um, we can multiply. An easy way to do it is to multiply this by 2. That's the fastest way to do it. And 2 could go into 2, 1. You can put this over 1 if you want, and 2 could go into 4, 2. So the simplified version of the answer would be, this will be the answer for the area of the two triangles, because I just multiplied the area of 1 by 2. So this is the area of the two triangles here. Now somebody could say, okay, so how this part reduce and how that's the area of 2? Well, before, the area of one of the triangles was being divided by a quarter. If you divide something by a quarter, you divide by 4, so it will be smaller. When you divide something in half, the halves are bigger. So this is the combined area of the two. So now we have to add them. So you add the area to find the total area of the entire shape, which you would sometimes call the surface area. The total area would be the total area would be what I'm looking for. Right. 9 squared, that is 9e squared, sorry. Add, what's the next one? This one is right, add this. Excuse me. I know the roots definitely will make this a little bit more trickier. And then algebra by itself, them letters. So now you need to add this. In maths, you can only add terms that have the same exact number, everything. One has a root with a square, and one just has a square. So you can't just add them like that. You have to factorize them. So this is where factorization of algebraic terms will come into play. What you want to look for is to see, okay, what is a common factor? A factor is, is a number that can divide into 9 in this case, and 3 over 2, which would give a remainder. Let me start with fraction because that one give me a little bit more tricky. I know I can get a half out of this, right? And a half by 3 will give me 3 halves, which is 1.5, right? So I could possibly get a half out of this as well. And a half by what number will give me 9? Well, half of 18. Half of 18 will give me 9. So what I'm getting as the numerical part of the common factor is a half. I still need to find for the letter part. Both of them have a squared, so the a squared will be a common factor. So the HCF in this factorization will be oh gosh, a half a squared. A half a squared. So You can put a half a squared in the front, and then you open brackets. Those of you who learn a little factorization may know what to do. Then you say, so 1 multiplied by a half a squared will give you 9 a squared. Well, 18, a half of 18 is 9, and you don't have to put nothing else because a squared by 1 will give you a squared. So you don't have to put any letter next to 18. Then you can ask yourself, 1 multiplied by a half a squared will give you the root 3 a squared over 2. Well, everything is positive, so it's a positive. You just put back the root 3. You don't have to put the a squared because it's already outside there. And you don't have to put the 2 either because the 2 below is in the fraction and a half. So this is the answer, but they told us to show something, right? This says to show that the area of the net, the entire shape, in terms of a is a half a squared. So we have it like that here, half a squared. 18 plus the root 3. So we already have this part. But I already have this part. It says equal to this, so that means I need to work it out a little bit further, right? So heading to a calculator, you need a scientific calculator. For this, work out what's in the brackets first. So you could put 18, add, put the root sign and 3. What I'm getting, I am getting I'm getting 19.7. Again, 19.73 something. Well, stop it right here at 1 decimal point. And they said, well, the answer will have the a squared, right? So we're not doing nothing with the a squared. Therefore, I can say a half multiply. You can either put 0.5 multiply by 19.7 because 0.5 is the decimal fraction for a half, or put 1 divided by 2. That will give you a half multiply by 19.7. And I am getting okay, I need to put some more decimals because I'm getting 9.85. They want me to show that is 9.866. So going back to the 18 plus the root 3, I have to put a few more decimals in here. I'll put probably 3 decimal places. So let me see. I'll put 4. Um, okay. So I'll put the 3, 2, actually I'll put 5. So you see sometimes when you leave out a certain amount of decimal points, you get a close answer, right? So going back to say a half multiply, or 1 divided by 2 multiply by 19.73205. Now I'm getting it. So I'm getting the a squared is still here. I'm getting 9.866. How many sixes? Okay, so that's right. So this is the answer right here. Or if you want to write it in that way, because a squared 9.866 is the same as saying a squared multiplied by this, right? So I could change it around because remember, as I said before, multiplication is commutative. So it don't matter what you really put in the front or in the back and stuff. So just to make sure it look like what they tell us to show, I'll just rearrange. So I hope this was understandable. I think there's one more thing to do here. So let me do it in this particular question. This is a very long, interesting question. Oh my goodness. All right, what is the thing? They want us to find the Find the volume, is it? Given that A is equal to 10 centimeters, calculate the depth of the oil in the container when John pours 8 cm cube of oil into it. So that's volume, because volume tells you how much in terms of a liquid a shape could hold. So volume would be the area of the cross section by the length or the height, right? So we found the area before. You'll remember the area was this. Okay, so the area, just replace it with that over 4 multiply by L. So even though we go with the height, we have to be careful a little bit. Calculate the depth. In this case, the height we go with is not the full height, so we have to be careful because the full height is 380. They are saying that calculate the depth. Like that means this amount of oil did not fill up the full container most likely. So what you could do, you could put by the depth to be a little bit more specific, or just D if you want. Right? So we don't know what the depth is. We know what the area is. And we know that the volume, they're saying when John pours 800 cm cube, that is the volume. So they give you the answer for the volume. Therefore, this is a transition problem, right? Now, to make this a little bit easier, we need to find the depth because they calculate the depth, so how deep. What I could do, since they give us the value of A, I could work on this separate and make it a little bit more easier. So the cube, that A squared over 4. So we can replace the A with 10 squared. You know that 10 squared is 10 by 10, or 10 multiplied by 10. So use your calculator, and here what to do. Press root, put the 3, put the open brackets, put 10, close brackets, and the square. Right? And then divide it by 4. Okay. So I am getting so I am getting, alright, back the 800 is equal to 43.3 by the depth. Now this is going to make it easier to transpose. I'll put D in short, right? Because if you leave that there, that might be real confusing. That makes it easier to transpose. The only thing we need to move is the 43.3. And what sign is connecting the 43.3 to the D and multiplication? So do the opposite of multiplication, which is to divide. So divide both sides by 43.3. Sorry about that. Oh my gosh, sorry. Yeah. So 43.3 into 3 would be 1. And 1 by D is D. And then you can see 800 divided by 43.3, which will give you 18 point, I'm getting 18.475. Alright, it's a 1 decimal place, so 18.47 can be rounded up to 18.5. Make sure and put your metric. Since the answer is in cm, the depth will be in cm. So this will be the answer here. So I will stop the video for now, and